I think this is going to take us to the second choice. So I'm going to ask you to expand here. The second critical choice I made was to commit to a two-way agreement. Now, here's the thing. I think we all enter into two-way agreements all the time, informally and formally. I don't necessarily know that everybody commits to it. What I experienced was the power of committing. That when I committed, and at the time, the first one I entered was between me and my sister, my big sister. When I committed, actions that began from, I have to do this, really transformed to, I want to do this. You were just talking about maintaining your commitment with your first choice, almost a commitment to self. Yeah. Now let's keep that going with, is there a two-way agreement that you've entered into, that you've committed to, that has impacted your journey?
I think so. And again, not perfect by any means, but trying to apply this framework, to my life experience, like where am I and where am I going and where do I stand right now? I think one of the two-way agreements with myself has been this goal of consensus, that it is okay to lean into disagreement, but only with the intention of like wanting to come out of that experience with a greater degree of closeness. How can I get someone to better understand me? How can I be better at understanding others? And like, how will we ultimately be closer as a result of that? And if we're not closer, because that's not always possible, can we at least, respectfully agree to disagree and then kind of leave each other in peace? This is really hard because I'm human and I don't always want to bend and I don't always want to be flexible, which is like necessary, right? And consensus building. But there's that concept again of like committing and recommitting to this two-way agreement, constantly having to like educate myself on why I should want consensus and arrive at a place of consensus. And that is the goal. Not that I necessarily need consensus. Because there's plenty of people who have like cycled through history, just living life solely driven by this personal desire and personal gain. So that's a two-way agreement. It's hard some days, but I try my best to show up for it.
Have you, so when you show up for it, if you reflect, have you experienced the sense of transforming from duty and obligation to almost joy and desire, where you actually desire to live this way?
You have to, because it's like how you develop the compassion in it. Like difficult things, it's like, especially again, I reflect on just like my American life experience. We just enjoy so much comfort here that we are tricked into believing that we should always be comfortable. And like, it's comfortable to, just just do what you have to do because it's your job, have difficult conversations, just go in, have them because it's your job. I think of that movie. I think it's like called Up in the Air, where the gentleman like flies around the world to fire people.
It is one of my favorite movies ever. I cry. It's Up. Yes, it's one of my favorites. Sorry, keep going.
There you go. And like it could be the case that like, this is your awful job. Like, this is something that you have to do that is not fun for anyone. But like being able to find compassion in that just requires you to get to a place in yourself where you want to do it. And you're not doing it because you like have to do it. I think that shows in your execution of whatever that thing may be.
Whatever that thing is, commit to it and you will feel the transformation.
For sure.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Choose and Become interview series. To check out more episodes, go to www.trishkendall.com/podcast, or go to any of your favorite podcast channels, including YouTube, under Trish Kendall Speaks, and you'll find this interview and more. Choose and become.